This is an overview of our Child-Parent Psychotherapy Fidelity Framework. In CPP, we have 6 interconnected fidelity strands: reflective practice, emotional process, dyadic relational, trauma framework, content, and procedural fidelity. We sometimes refer to them as our DNA because these different aspects of fidelity are inextricably linked, and they form the template for the way we are and what we do. Here's the main visual that we use to depict our CPP Fidelity Framework. We've organized the strands in a compass. The CPP Fidelity Compass guides our work and is especially helpful when the treatment path feels complex or when we feel lost. This can happen when we're new to CPP, when family circumstances are complex, and when there are lots of system-level challenges. We'll use this compass as we go through a quick overview of our CPP Fidelity Framework. Let's get started. This is our icon for reflective practice fidelity. It reminds us that we strive to be aware of our own reactions, to be integrated so that we can think clearly and hold multiple perspectives. The green space represents the therapeutic space. Here we are in that space. We want to attend to the emotions, communications, and needs of both the child and the caregiver. Dyadic Relational Fidelity, which is represented by the double heart icon, reminds us that our overarching goal is to strengthen connection, meaning-making, and the flow of communication between the caregiver and the child. Now let's turn to emotional process fidelity, which is represented by the cup icon. As therapists, we need to think about the emotional states of each person and their capacity to hold and tolerate difficult emotions. Trauma framework fidelity, which is represented by the cloud icons, involves asking about past experiences, including potentially traumatic experiences, thinking about how these experiences affect behavior and family relationships, and helping the family communicate about these experiences as a way to support repair. We believe that experiences matter, and we know that unfortunately, many people have had traumatic experiences. Experience like this can have a long-term effect on the person's well-being and relationships. For example, if a parent has had an experience of danger, this may cloud their view of the world, themselves, or their child. If a child has had an experience of danger, even if the parent wasn't involved, this can affect their sense of safety, their behaviors, and their relationship with their parents or other grown-ups. As therapists, it's challenging to hear stories about violence and danger, especially when the danger is ongoing. Sometimes what a family is going through may remind us of our own personal history or our work with another family. When this happens, we may be less able to focus on what's happening in the here and now because our memories and body-based reactions pull us into a different space and time. Let me share a quick case example. Imagine a session where a child is using dolls and showing us that the people in the family are fighting, and things are really scary. As their play gets increasingly chaotic, it may start to affect me. If I'm triggered and not centered, I may just focus on the child and what they're sharing. I may just have a kind of tunnel vision and not be paying attention to the parent's emotions and needs. Ideally, I'd want to take a deep breath and then recognize that the child is sharing an experience that is likely really painful for the parent. When I'm able to tune in to the parent's needs and reactions, the parent is typically better able to support the child, and we typically see better treatment outcomes. We might appreciate that while this is hard, it's also beautiful. The parent is creating a space where the child doesn't have to be alone with their painful memories and fears. This may be really different from what the parent experienced when they were growing up. The parent is breaking a cycle of intergenerational trauma and violence, and of silence around these experiences. So hopefully what you're recognizing is that as therapists, our reflective practice fidelity is connected to our ability to attend to the other important aspects of fidelity. Our emotional state affects our ability to support relationships, to attune to other people's emotional states, and to remember history. This ultimately may impact treatment effectiveness. Content fidelity is the degree to which our interventions address the goals of child-parent psychotherapy versus, say, the goals of another intervention. In the diagram, the content fidelity icons are in the middle, between the therapist and the family, to symbolize that what we do together creates positive movement towards CPP goals. The CPP triangle represents our shared conceptualization, our understanding of what the family's been through, how it affects them, the goals of treatment, and how we might partner to bring about positive change. The last fidelity strand is procedural fidelity, which is represented by the checklist. We often don't recognize that the procedures that we do during the foundational phase create the therapeutic space. We create a space where we honor family relationships and family strengths, and where we help the family to metabolize difficult experiences so that they don't continue to affect them. Our stance and other aspects of the CPP Fidelity Framework are active. We strive to be benevolent and curious. We want to understand the perspective of different family members. We're mindful of our own reactions and of the caregiver's emotional state. This has been a quick overview of our CPP Fidelity Framework. Please continue to watch our CPP Fidelity videos so that you can dive deeper and learn more about how each aspect of fidelity guides our work.